Hey. Welcome. Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of Politics and Wellness. I am one of your hosts, Captivating Christian. Thanks for coming in. I ask that you hit the like button on your way in, please. And I'll shoot it over to my co-host for this evening, as always. Hello,
everybody. Yes. Okay. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Just thank you for coming on through and gracing us with your presence. We got some good topics this evening, and I'm looking forward to engaging with everybody tonight.
All right. So, boy, let's get right into it. There's so much stuff that's happened. First off, let's start with the big revelation of the day. I don't know if you caught the breaking news, but there was a Harvard professor, actually a chairperson of the chemistry and bio something. I can't think of it right now at the top of my head. So many stuff running through my head, but chemistry and bio, I want to say not biochemistry, but definitely in that field. He's been working with the Chinese government in Wuhan, which is basically the place where that coronavirus has come from. So it's a possibility that they have tracked down these people, and two of the other people who was charged with him, two of them were actually working for the Chinese government. So they're possibly thinking that they may all have had something to do with this virus that's on the loose right now. So that was definitely very interesting. Not to mention that this chairperson from Harvard has gotten millions and millions of dollars from the Chinese government. One of the officers, the Chinese officers, he was actually working in a Boston hospital doing cancer research, and he got arrested for trying to smuggle some specimens over to China on a plane. So it's been very, very, and I mean extremely crazy. So yeah, that's first. Second, of course, the White House has ended their defense of President Donald Trump, and basically it was still more of the same. Basically, he didn't do it, he did it, and what he did wasn't that bad to be impeached. I mean, it's just more of the same vitriol. I mean, at this point, the man should just come out and say he did it. I think that would be the best bet.
Yes.
Keep it moving. But now he's put himself in a spot that the Republicans are starting to, at least now, wanting to hear from witnesses. And that's why I think that Nancy Pelosi herself chose to, hey, everybody, thank you for coming. Just real quick, hit the like button on your way in. Even if you're just dropping in and running back out. I think Nancy Pelosi was right in holding all those articles of impeachment, because I think what they were planning to do was cover it up before all this other stuff came out. They were going to just write it off and vote it off and be done with it. And you would have heard about the other stuff coming up, like, oh, how did that? Oh, what about this? So that's where we are with that. So, and other than that, I'll let you go because there's so much stuff.
Okay. So, as we all know and have been informed by many different news platforms, the passing of Kobe Bryant, and my heart goes out to him, his family, and his counterparts within the team. But I also want to bring with that, I want to bring into the light of us being mindful of how his life is equal to anyone's life, and I'm seeing um, a lot of conversation out in the media and a lot of focus on just him. And then nobody's has for a while at least they were not even focusing on the family members that were also in the helicopter with him. So with that, I would just want to project that everyone's life is equal because to the other people in the helicopter, they may have been celebrities to their family, or in the lives of other people, we are maybe celebrities ourselves to our family members, you
Right.
know. And that to me is, while I believe that his life, the loss of his life was very, very tragic and it's something that our heart should be heavy with, I
Right.
also want to focus on that if we're going to be heavy hearted, we have right now, we have 64,000 African American black women, however you want to word it, that are missing according to medium.com. And that's just in the
Right.
United States.
Right.
So
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
that's a lot of people that we're not seeing news broadcasts on. We're not seeing anything on them. The posts aren't being posted on social media. I would have had no clue until I did my research that there were 64,000 black women missing that have not been accounted for. And we don't even know if they're still living. So again, while I
Hello.
think that the love, I'm sorry.
I think your phone went out. But yeah, like you were saying, we don't know if they're dead or alive or what's going on with them. So that's really shameful. I think we need to really start paying more attention to our young women, really being more vigilant
Yes,
and not depending upon, just thinking everything's okay. We need to really start paying attention and like being a community like we used to be,
right,
and really watching. I know nowadays you're like, I ain't looking after nobody else's kids. They ain't my kids. But just to be mindful, nobody's saying you got to, be spanking nobody else's kids, but just to be mindful that, you're paying attention to the children in your neighborhood.
right.
But anyway, go ahead and continue what you were saying before your phone went out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the computer, but I was pretty much just elaborating on that, and you pretty much finished that up. But what I want to encourage is that people who may not have time to take their kids to school, and your kids may have to walk or take public transportation to get them to adapt and adopt a buddy system.
Mm-hmm.
If you see other kids while you're taking your kids to school, I understand we live in a world where you can't just pick them up and take them, but if you're walking or if you're utilizing public transportation, why not walk behind that kid to make sure that kid gets in the safe direction that you're going anyway? You know, just take an extra step to be mindful of other people and make it a community like California girl just said, like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had people telling my mother what I was doing before I even knew that they saw me.
What?
So,
You are preaching to the choir. You'd
whew,
be like, really,
yeah.
lady?
Yes. In the littlest thing, we couldn't do anything. That's probably why we are like we are right now. But I think that that legacy needs to be carried on into the kids that we have now. The grandmothers are not always the grandmother that we are used to.
Right, right.
And
They're younger. They're a
yeah,
little
it's
more spry.
people younger. And I'm not saying I know some awesome grandparents who are younger. So I'm not saying that neither one of us is saying that. However, the culture is just different. And it does make a difference in the way that we view things. So, with that being said, keeping in mind that the loss of Kobe's life is tragic, but there are also so many other people who are losing their lives. And no matter how the person was living their life still deserves to be mourned as if they were the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right. Very true. Also, in some politic news, like I said, John Bolton is the biggest thing talking right now. Everybody is wanting to know whether he will testify or not. Um, so that is definitely the big hot topic as far as politics are concerned, because Donald Trump's fate kind of hangs in the balance a little bit. I mean, although I don't still think they will impeach him
Hmm.
as far as kick him out of office, but
Hmm.
they're definitely thinking about, and I'm not sure, but I can definitely use my own brain and think that they're definitely thinking about sanctioning his presidency to probably where in which he won't be able to run for reelection at all.
Right, right.
Um, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, they'll just have to get another candidate, and it'll just be a one-term president. Because it just looks like as this stuff goes on, and even if John Bolton does testify, another shoe is going to drop, some more information is going to come out, and it's going to be what it's going to be. The funny thing is that the White House actually had a copy of this so-called manuscript of his book, and they only gave them one. So that means somebody in the White House printed it and sent it out. So it's like they do their own self a disservice and then want to be going on TV talking about how it's a lie, a hoax, or this or that. So I just think it's all very stupid.
Yeah, that is wow. I'm speechless. I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right.
You
I just
know, I just while I'm not saying to throw the book at the man, I just feel like the situation is just being approached with hesitancy because I don't know why. It just doesn't seem like they're giving this the full force that they would give to someone else. Like that I've seen them do in the past when it comes to things with a president being out of line, if you will.
No, they're not. They're not because they don't want to. I personally, I think everybody has had their hand in the cookie jar. Basically, the Russians have been paying a lot of people, and these people either they knew about it or they didn't find out about it till later. And then once they found out about it, it was like, damn, we already in it.
Right.
So everybody's really trying to cover their own behind. You got Mitch McConnell. His wife is the Secretary of Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
All of the transportation contracts have gone to Kentucky.
Mm.
Yeah, like they making money hand over fist. So nobody wants to be exposed right now
Right.
for what they're doing and the things that are coming about that could really not only rock the presidency, but really rock the whole thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
they talking about they hate Nancy Pelosi. She really could become president, even if it's only for 2 months. But
Right.
all the mess that everybody's kind of enthralled in
Right.
with engaging with this man and the people that he know. I mean, it's funny how he likes to say he doesn't know anybody or he doesn't, he doesn't recollect none of these people, but they all wind up getting some sort of charge due to his, his wheeling and dealings. I think he's always been a person that, was kind of fascinated with the mob and that kind of mob mentality because he did go, he was around all of that in the 80s and, early 80s and late 70s. So he really carries himself as some sort of mobster. And it's just like that, no, it only works for certain people. Um, I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I definitely think it calls a time for reflection of a party that claims to be so patriotic and so about country that they would allow, and it's okay for a foreign government to come for you to say, "Oh, can you help me dig up some dirt?" And that's okay, and nobody bats an eyelash. Like, but you spent hours like
Right.
drilling Hillary Clinton over Benghazi and calling her unpatriotic or her actions that she took not patriotic, and yet and still this is okay. I mean, it's hypocritical is what it is of the whole Republican Party. I hear the ones that
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I don't stand with it or whatever." But if you're not saying anything about it and actually standing up to the man about it, then you are just as complicit. And you don't get no
Right.
sympathy from me. So I definitely think that it is a total
Right.
disservice to the country that we need to, take a second and just be
Yeah.
like this was a foreign country he asked. Like it wasn't like the neighborhood. This was something totally different that he asked to do this. Um, so anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Anything else you want to add? Well, I say thank you, welcome everybody. Please hit those thumbs up. Thank you, welcome to Punitive Damages. Thank you for your support. Story time with Shay Johns. Thank you, California Girl. As always, thank you, Miss B Town. Thank you, thank you, D Young. Thank you, uh, Patty Duke. Thank you,
Thank
Tennis
you,
Love Story.
everybody.
Thank you so much for coming by. What were you gonna say?
Yeah,
Hello?
most definitely everyone that I missed verbally, I want to say thank you for coming through. What you were saying, like we said the other day, I'm starting now that politics, hypocrisy is sin now.
You said what?
Okay, maybe I think okay. So I was saying like we spoke on. I feel like or I have felt like for a while that politics and hypocrisy is synonyms.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's real funny, and it's like
Okay.
you've held the previous. Huh? Are you freezing or something? Yeah, you might have to just pop out and come
Reason.
back in. Okay, so just
Will
you
do.
might have to pop out and come back in. All right. So it's funny how the previous president, you wouldn't let him get away with anything. Anything he tried to do, you tried to say he was about to get impeached or something. Um, and the man couldn't do anything wrong, and he literally didn't. There was no scandal in the whole 8 years. There was nothing, even though you tried to, find something on him or find him doing something wrong, so you could basically crucify the man. And yet here you have someone who has done any and everything to basically show yourselves to be nothing but. And I don't like to say this, but I will a bit racist, um, a bit bigoted to the fact that this man can do everything that he has done and no one holds him accountable whatsoever. And we almost treat this, well, they treat this man like if he is a king and then talk about some, we don't run a monarch. That's basically what you're doing. So I don't know. I don't know. Are you back there, Mr. Credential? Oh, nope. I can't hear you, sir.
Back, but it's still. Are you hearing me
Oh,
clearly?
I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. It's still breaking.
Okay.
I'm going to try. Um.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good?
Hey, everyone. I mean, I hear you now. You're good for right now. Hello? Uh, I don't know.
Yes.
You might be having some technical difficulties. Okay.
I'm going. Give
Is it
me
like a delay?
five. Give me 2 minutes because something's. It's a big delay. I'm gonna just start everything over again.
Okay. Sure, no problem. I'll be here. All right. So now that it's just me and you guys, what are some things that you guys have questions about or that you've heard? Maybe it's something I haven't heard, but I've been kind of glued to the TV since I got in today. And earlier, for those of you who came in late, hey Tanari, how you doing? For those who came in a little later, I briefly talked about the Harvard professor. I had that in my breaking news. When that came across my phone, I was like, holy shiznit. It was almost like watching Outbreak or what's that, what was that, to X Files or something like that, something crazy like that. Only because we have this outbreak of this coronavirus that is spread through, that is like spreading through China and, that part of the region. And of course, it has made its way to the United States, first in Washington State and then in Chicago. Um, and of course, the CDC has been on it trying to figure out where was its origin and where did it come from. They're trying to say before that it came from eating raw uh, animals and things like bats and all kinds of craziness, which is stuff that sometimes
Oh
over
gosh.
in that part of the world they do, those delicacies and things, that stuff that we would never think about eating. However, just recently there has been a report that the attorney general from Massachusetts has charged a Harvard professor who was in charge of like the chemistry department. Hey, how you doing, Jay Dunn? with has charged him and two others with working with the Chinese government. That he lied actually to the government and did not tell them that he was working in Wuhan, which is the part in China where in which the coronavirus has been discovered. He's been working with the Chinese government for some time now. So possibly he could be in this ring. And then, as someone said earlier in my comments, that the actual coronavirus could possibly have been constructed. So that's definitely some news. And as far as the professor is concerned, Harvard has not yet given too much of a statement on the professor's fate, I guess. As of right now, he is on administrative leave indefinitely. And the two others, they were working with the Chinese government. One was an official in the army, and the other was just a researcher, medical researcher. So it's been quite an interesting day. I don't know what to say. It's like watching one of them television shows like CSI or something. I just really hope it doesn't spread any more than it already has. It has, like I said, it's spread from Washington State to Chicago, and hopefully it goes no further. As far as the death toll in China, that has risen from, I think it was like 88 last count to I think 111. And it is slowly but surely climbing. So it is getting, I think it's getting a lot worse than what they're saying because they don't want to alarm people. But all I would say is that the government is basically pulling everybody, all U.S. personnel out of that part of the world and sending them back to America. So it's got to be.
I don't know if you responded to its sister and the virus is real, but if you haven't, yes, sister, the virus is real. How it's derived, where it came from is a different story. Well, we know where it came from, but actually how it's derived and what it's capable of is just probably the experiment. But it's definitely real. There are plenty of newscasts and reports on it, and currently I don't know about what state you in, but currently in our state there have not been any report for the very, very rare.
Hey, YB the Kid, what's going on?
Oh wow, it's a case in California.
Well, there was a case in is it? Wow, I'm sure there was a case, like I said, in Washington State, and there was a case in Chicago. But as people travel, it's hard to pinpoint everything. And as first, it derives from eating like raw fish and bats and other things over in that side of the world that they eat. But now it's kind of getting a little crazy, being that actually I just spoke about the Harvard professor who's been working with the Chinese government in Wuhan in regards to doing some chemical research and all that kind of stuff in the country with their government and giving secrets away, United States secrets from the Department of Defense and other things to the Chinese government. So it's getting really deep. As far as how far this rabbit hole goes, I don't know, but it's really crazy. The symptoms and signs are something like the flu, they said. It is similar to the flu. And, if caught early, it's, of course, treatable, but however, not caught in time could be fatal. So.
Right. Yeah. So I want to.
It was a lot of money.
Different turn on it. Say it again. My thing.
No.
Freezing.
No. Story time with Shay Johns was saying that those guys are dirty. I said, yeah, they're dirty, but there's a lot of money in it. The Harvard professor got millions of dollars from the Chinese government to do all that research and stuff. So,
Of course.
yeah,
Of course. Money is
it's a real dirty
powerful
game.
in
But
ways,
anyway,
and it's a very manipulative fact.
yeah.
But
So what were you saying?
yeah, I wanted to transition into thing involving mental health, even though all those things do kind of go along with, as well as will. But something I wanted to discuss is knowing the difference between shade and encouragement. And I want to know, maybe some people can jump down into the chat and let me know. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is not to be messy or anything like that. It's for the sake of knowing the difference, because some can be crossed where people can use shade to make you feel responsible and make you feel like you need to take action. And then with the need to feel act becomes a manipulation and gets you to play along with what is actually going on. And if you're not strong, sometimes conform. So that's something that I wanted to bring out there to see who actually knows the difference between the two, and the sincere heart in someone who's just an opportunity.
Good question. Were you asking me or you asking the chat? Yeah, you were breaking up. You might want to repeat your question.
Okay.
I think
I don't know what's going. Okay. Repeat. So I was asking if people know the difference between encouragement and shade, and if they can tell.
Okay, so
Because often,
let's just break it down. I guess break it up so that way I can repeat it, and then that way it won't get to. So whether or not they know the difference between shade and encouragement.
shade, encouragement, yes.
Okay.
I want to make sure this comes across right. She is obviously over here, so let me restart. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. So while he goes and fix that up, real quick, I don't know if you guys know, but of course I talk about politics all the time. So, but this is a total different kind of politics, which I think was interesting as I came across the story. I don't know if you guys are aware of the kind of feud that's going on between Gabrielle Union and Terry Crews. Um, Gabrielle Union was a host on America's Got Talent, and Terry Crews is now he's the, I guess, the host, I guess, who introduces the contestants and stands backstage with them. So I was wondering, and I thought it would be a good question as far as office politics are concerned, because they are coworkers, or they were coworkers, and they did work together. But I wonder, how would you, if there was a situation where in which your coworker was having an issue, would you stand up for your coworker, or would you just let it happen? Because from what I gather from the situation, of course, she had felt some type of way. They asked him. He claimed he never experienced any of that over the 20 years he's worked there. On top of that, he said he's only loyal to his wife and only owes his wife a sense of standing up for her or protecting her. He doesn't owe anybody else anything, not even his kids. He said that they have their partners and husbands or whatever to take care of them, and I am just supposed to be here to take care of my wife. So I just thought that was interesting, that especially with a lot of us being, Black, African American, or what have you, that there is a place where in which, although, yeah, I know he may need the job or want the job, or it's a great opportunity, which I'm sure it is, but if somebody is having an issue where in which they really feel as if they're being discriminated against, or treated unfairly, that you would not stand in the gap to say, hey, you know, find out really what's going on. First, you make fun of her, and then you basically say, "Oh, this is the most diverse cast I've ever, or diverse situation I've ever worked with, and I've been in the business for 20 years." How do you say that? And I think that just shows we've come to a level of lack of protection or concern for our sisters, um, in all in all walks of life or realms. I think that's highly disappointing. I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm not a gun ho Gabrielle Union fan, of course not, because I'm sure she's done some things too. But I just think that was a bit, at the most time where somebody is saying, "Hey, this is happening," um, not just with one person, but with a whole staff of people. I'm feeling this, and you stand there like, well, it's not happening to me. It's kind of a bit. I was a bit taken aback by it. I didn't quite understand that, but you know, hey, I guess. Let me read some of these comments. Bear with me, you guys. Hey guys, thanks again for stopping on through. If you if I happen to miss you while I was running my mouth, Joe Biden may have some trouble coming up with the Clarence Thomas document. Biden doesn't look good. Yeah, I mean, he may. I think personally, they're gonna look past that. I think they're gonna, he's gonna apologize for how he treated Anita Hill like he did, and they're gonna try to move forward. I don't think they're gonna try and dwell on it too much, just because it makes him, of course, look bad. But I do think he's gonna wind up having to talk about that job that he got his son. I definitely think he's gonna have to answer for that. That's without a doubt. Yeah, I do. I agree. Terry Crews should have said less. He shouldn't have said nothing at all, really. I don't think it was right. I think, as a man, you don't. Okay. As a man, you don't. You don't do that. I mean, for me, it's like the same respect that you would give your wife, you should give every woman. Same respect you would give your mother, you should give every woman. And sometimes, yeah, people are pushed to a certain level, but you should always remember, to kind of tone and keep it at a certain level. I don't care how the cookie crumbles. It's just that's fine. I mean, they both make more money than we do, so I guess I don't really care either. She had no problem laughing at him when he came his situation. Right, that is true too. That is true. Like I said, she's probably done some stuff too. And I mean, he probably felt some type of way. But I mean, and not in her defense, but I mean, just overall, as far as looks is concerned, a man's built like he's a former football player. So it's like as big as you are, you let somebody touch you, like that's crazy. I don't, not that I don't buy it, but it just makes me shake my head a little bit. Hello, are you back?
I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm back.
Okay, no problem. No sweat. I've just been hanging out with them, keeping them company.
Okay.
You got to repeat your question again because I started
Yes, I'm
talking
going to
about
repeat it, and I'm gonna
very cool.
have to
Oh goodness.
tape before I do it. We good? You can still hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is difference between and shade.
It's
And
still
again,
breaking up.
this would be is it
No,
breaking
it
up
was still
again?
breaking up, but go ahead.
Is it
No, go
okay?
ahead.
All right. So the reason why I asked the question about knowing the difference between encouragement and shade is because sometimes the lines can be crossed and people can use shade to encourage you, and sometimes people can also use encouragement to shade you. So do you know the difference between when someone's been resolute with you and trying to make you feel responsible for your actions and pushing you into a corner and trying to manipulate you, or somebody is trying to encourage you?
Well, if you want me to answer, I think delivery has a lot to do with that.
Right.
I think delivery plays a part in that. Um, Honestly, how well the person knows you or you know the person plays a part in that as well, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because somebody can say something that can be encouraging, but because they don't know you, it can come off as them being shady towards you. Tanari K said to me, shade is shade.
Right.
Shade is shade. It's up to you to use it as motivation. Right, correct. Johnny Cage, I believe the same thing.
Yeah, but they're trying to help though, but that's the only that they.
It's breaking up.
All right. I'm
Okay.
just gonna get on my phone and
I
I'm
hear
not
you
gonna be
now.
able to see.
I hear
Huh?
you now. I said I hear you now.
Okay.
But when you first started talking, it was breaking up bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is prohibiting me from doing what I need to do. So I'm just gonna get off the computer, get on the phone, and move forward. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean a big part of that I guess is how you take it. Um, you can always kind of turn lemons into lemonade, as people say, and kind of don't let um, what people say about you to determine or deter you from your goals. I'm a firm believer that your past doesn't dictate your future. Um, so you may have a moment where in which things may not be so going so well, but things can always turn around. You just got to kind of stay focused. And it's hard to stay positive and keep a level head when things aren't going quite right. But you gotta kind of push through. Um, Shade can be given to discredit someone's confidence. Yeah, and that's very true. Especially if they see someone who is, very confident and self assured. People will try to knock them down every little bit, to kind of tear away at who they really are or who they see. But you got to be secure and grounded in who you are to know that that whole sticks and stones will break your bones kind of thing. But words, what will words do? You can use them same words to them same people that's talking them words. Later on, you see them on the way. As you climb your way up, they'll be, you'll be passing them. So I don't pay too much attention to that, but I totally get that we need to start definitely, using the words that people say and not really taking them to heart, listening to them, hearing from what they are, and you kind of take what you can use and spit out the rest. It's a lot of times we get so caught up in what people say, and we internalize it, and a lot of times you don't have to do that. Um, Yeah, I mean, and you can. You're absolutely right. You can motivate someone through shade, but that is, again, that's how it's all about how you do it, and it's the relationship that the two people have. If you're my friend and we're friends on that level, yeah, you may be able to shade me to encourage me to, get up and fold my clothes or get up and do something. Yeah, that's all well and good, but again, when it's somebody you don't know or that doesn't really know you, it can be used to kind of tear you down. Or even so, people just think that because you are the way you are, that you are arrogant, that you think you're better than. And it's like, no, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I know I'm better than, and no one's better than me. Um, but I am my own, I'm my own person. How you think about you is how you think about you. And I'm all for it. So I don't get all caught up in that kind of stuff, but I can see how it can affect people. But anyway, moving on from that, I did have another story as far as no, this is not. It's not political in the politics sense, but it is political because it deals with relationship. So Nicki Minaj and her new husband bump into Meek Mills in a store in New York City, and they start to have a shouting match. And of course, every side says that one side was responsible for it. Uh, are you back?
I don't know what's going on. I'm not having a good nothing's working over here. I don't know what's going on. It's not trying to let me be great tonight. But I'm back for the moment.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, good.
I'll pause my story and get back to it so you can finish yours. Go ahead. And you can take the question all over. Because I kind of took that. Hello? Are you serious? Not right now. They're really not trying to let you be great today. Hello? Hello? Okay. All right. So moving right along, because I don't know what's going on with that. So anyway, getting yeah, thank you. Thank you to everybody for coming through. Appreciate you coming by. Please make sure you hit that like button on your way in or out or up in the clouds, wherever you're at. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I guess back to my story since he's having technical difficulties. So Nicki Minaj bumps into her ex. They get into a shouting match. It's been alleged that Nicki Minaj and her husband started after Meek Mills was staring them both down in the store. Um, people on Meek Mill's team say that they started. They approached him and they were yelling. So totally, I don't know who to believe. It is what it is, whatever. I think it's childish either way. But it does pose a question about relationships. Do you, when you've ended your relationship with whomever they may be, do you still shop at the same places? Do you still go to the same stores? Or do you make it, do you make it a habit not to go into anywhere that person has been in? Right, it does. So I was just wondering about that because me personally, I wouldn't bother. I just think that's a bit much. Because I wouldn't. Yeah, the behavior is ridiculous for grown people. I think it is absolutely ridiculous. You're absolutely right. Uh, yeah, I do think the behavior is absolutely ridiculous. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. If it doesn't work this time, I think we're going to go ahead and shut it down for the night.
Okay, no problem.
Because I've tried so many times that I didn't even come on, but I'm trying my best. So let's get back to it.
Sure, no problem. No problem.
So what did I miss?
I was talking about the Nicki Minaj and Meek Mills kind of situation, where in which do you, after you've been with your ex and you break up, do you still go to the same places that you used to go? And do you, or do you find new places to go to so you don't happen to bump into your ex?
The question, I'll answer that question with the question: did you like drama or not? Because if you don't, then you would naturally go float around to somewhere that you can be more comfortable, that's new, that's not going to put you in a predicament. the memories and the running in and out of situation and just move on. It's okay to visit those places, but maybe not all the time.
Yeah, I understand that, and I see that. But then you look at it like this: the the level in which they're at and the kind of atmosphere they're in, they will always bump into each other at some point or another. So at what point do you have to just be mature and be like, you know what? Okay, you moved on. I, try to move on. Maybe it didn't work out just yet, but it might at some point. Hello?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry. This is just not going well tonight. So I didn't hear anything you said. I could see your mouth moving, but for some reason on none of my devices is it allowing me
it's
to stream
working.
with you tonight.
Okay. No problems. No worries. No worries. Um, so let's just throw it to the chat real quick, and I just want to see what you guys are gonna say. Let the smoke clear and try to get in a different pathway. Yeah. If you move on, you should be able to go anywhere. Right. I feel the same way, California girl. You move on, you should be able to go anywhere. And it's been alleged, of course, allegedly rumored that Nicki Minaj does that. That she'll pop up, she'll find out where people are and pop up on purpose, and act like she's just in the neighborhood. So I don't put it past her either that she just happened to be at the same store that Meek Mills was at. I think, she has people that keep their ears and eyes to the streets and will contact her or contact her people in some kind of way to say, hey, this person's here, that person's there. And they popped up in the store. Plus, he had said something about her husband in a diss rap or something, allegedly. So I think that kind of caused a little bit of, oh, let's just pop up on him, see what he say now, kind of thing. Which I think altogether is childish, but whatever. Um, yeah, exactly. And they're gonna have to coexist in the same spaces. They are, they're celebrities, so it's like of course, you're gonna have to be in the same space. That's just ridiculous. Uh, yeah, eyes across there. Don't try to blame Nikki. I'm not blaming Nikki. I'm just saying that it is apparent that she does do that. Um, so I'm not, uh, it, right. Yeah, that's petty, but that's also his last name. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Tanari is very petty. Um, why do we always assume the woman has set the man up to fight? No, no, I'm not assuming that the woman has set the man up to fight because I know, from what I've read allegedly about him, he's for it. He's for it. So, and not necessarily for a fight, but and kind of, you said something about me. What did you say? Kind of that approach. So I'm not surprised by any of it really. And like I said, it's sad and unfortunate, but oh well. So back on the political side of things, since my co-host was having some technical difficulties, the Iowa um, the Iowa polls are coming up soon, and that'll give everybody their first look into who is actually the front runners for the Democratic nomination for president of the United States for 2020 on the Democratic ticket. So I don't know if anybody's been, kind of following these guys that we have left. I think there are 12. However, a lot of the other candidates have not made it um, to the point where they can actually show up on the debate stage because the Democratic National Convention now has changed their rules to where in which for every debate you have to raise a certain amount of money and also yeah, basically that's pretty much it. Raise a certain amount of money. And a lot of the candidates that are still in the running, however, have not raised the money to reach the debate stage, but they can still caucus at the different states. So I wonder how that's going to go. With this impeachment trial, however, it's given Biden and Buttigieg kind of a leg up, really, to really run around and do some things. I mean, I'm a fan of mostly all of the candidates a little bit. They all have little bits and pieces that I could take from one and take from another and kind of make a candidate if I had some clay or something. So I mean that works, but there are certain things about every one of them that I'm like, I mean, of course I'd vote for them if I had to vote, but there are definitely certain things that I would just like to be like, What are your predictions for the candidates? My predictions, that's funny. I think, well, my prediction for the actual candidate are two. It's either going to be Biden or Sanders. I think they will do to Sanders what they did during Hillary, is try and stop him. Excuse me. And I don't know why they're so against Sanders, because all of the programs that we have now are socialist programs. Social Security is a socialist program. All the programs now that we have presently are from the New Deal that was signed by FDR, which are socialist programs. So I am confused to where in which a touch of socialism or a socialist program where in which provides for the people has become this huge issue. I think that has a lot to do with the money that's in politics right now. It's a lot of money in politics, and people are trying to make sure that their interest is basically being heard. So I think that that's unfortunate. I think once the Supreme Court ruled in favor of PACs, of money PACs being able to infiltrate in the election system as much as they have, I think it definitely have made it totally bad. Have I considered running for political office? No, I have not. I used to run for things like, in school and stuff, but nope, never. Thing I've helped on campaigns and stuff, but never personally ran. No, it's a lot. It's a lot. It really is a lot. Although it's exciting and fun, it definitely is a lot. It definitely is a lot. Buttigieg. No, I really don't think Buttigieg has too much of a chance. I think pretty soon he probably will be bowing out. I think they will keep him because he will be a running mate of someone, or definitely in the cabinet of any one of the candidates, I'm sure. But no, I don't think Buttigieg pretty much has a chance. I believe Warren may have a chance. It's still going to be a tough sale. She has a little more of a chance than Hillary did, but it's still going to be a tough sale because not only do you have some chauvinistic men, but you have some chauvinistic women too that believe that a man should be president because a man can handle the job and a woman can't. You'd be surprised. You definitely be surprised. But she is a fighter. And she will give it to the banks. She will give it to, big corporations. As far as how much, I don't know, because everybody talks a good fighting game while they're running. But once they get in there, tunes change because you really get to see who actually has the power and who runs things. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's see. He has a major cross town, and plus, to mention Buttigieg, though, he's having a tough time with the African American vote, and there's no way in the world you're gonna win any kind of Democratic ticket without getting a good chunk of the African American vote. And he's having a tough time. His own city is having race relation issues that has every so often it'll shine a light on him and then it'll dim away. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not a good look for him. So he needs to work on that. United States is a social experiment itself. Yeah, it is. It is definitely a social experiment. Who do you think will win the Democratic ticket? Like I said, I think it will be between two. It'll be between Biden and or Sanders. Warren, something big would have to happen between Sanders and Biden for Warren to actually get in there enough to be considered. Something big, some big news, something. Other than that, I don't quite see it. I mean, she's great. I would definitely vote for her, but the way this is all set up, it'll be a tough sell. It really would. It really would. And I don't see Joe Biden taking a vice presidential role yet again. To do that again, I don't see him doing that. Sanders may. It may be a ticket. If it's a ticket between her and Sanders, if something happens and she flies past Sanders and Sanders bows out, I could see that, and then I could see them definitely, taking it all the way. But her by herself, I'd be curious to see who her candidate choice would be. Let's see. Mike Bloomberg is the one who started Yes, Mike Bloomberg is the one who started this stop and frisk. Actually, no, he's not actually the one who started it, but he because Giuliani used to do that. He used to have the whole stop and frisk type thing. Giuliani actually started that. Definitely, it was happening here and there before 9/11, but definitely after 9/11, it was definitely a lot of stopping. They didn't really call it stop and frisk. It was just like, they just stopped people just to check them, but it was mainly people, like us, black and brown folks, who were getting stopped the most and, frisked or interrogated. And then later on, it became stop and frisk once they cleared up Times Square and it became less of a brothel, because Times Square used to be horrible. It was like sex shops everywhere and X-rated video places everywhere. You go to Times Square now, you would never know it. But yeah, it used to be the worst. And being a kid and I want to be like, we are here for 2 seconds and we're leaving. So it was nice that they finally cleaned it up, because it was a mess. But yeah, Bloomberg, please don't let me start on him. Yeah, Bloomberg, he's a trip. The only thing I can say in the up for him is he is definitely very business savvy as far as like making a return in turnover. He can definitely do that. Now, at what cost is the issue? The difference between him and Trump had no money. Trump is making money now more than he's ever made in a long time, and probably since the 80s. But he's using your taxpayer dollars to do it. Yeah, because he's having his Secret Service when he's in a place that's like 20 miles from the airport. They go 40 miles so they can stay at a Trump resort, and then he charges you guys to pay for it. So I think that is, all of us to pay for it. So, it's something to consider. And as far as him, bankrupting the farmers, and not to mention that a lot of the farmers who actually need the money, some of them in Democratic states, are not getting as much of the farming relief that the states that are red are getting. So that's quite unfortunate, because at this point, you're the president of the United States, not the president of just the red states. So I just think that that's unfortunate. The age of the candidates concern you? Not really. The age of the candidates don't quite concern me. Not that concerned with it, because, with rest in peace, Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the others that perished in the helicopters crash recently. You never know, so we could get somebody young in there and they wind up passing, for whatever reason. So it's always, you never know. Um, I would like to see, when I look at candidates, I like to see, of course, what their platform is, and then later maybe who they may pick to, be a running mate for them. Because in that way, that would set up that, if something did happen, at least I know that these things would still be carried out under the next person's administration, because of how they, hey, what's up, crackhead Willie, how they feel about what you're doing. So that's important to me. I don't really care about age too much. I mean, Trump walks around like he's the youngest thing ever, and him and Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are like pretty much very close in age. There's only a couple years that divide them all. So it's like, what do you mean young? You're not young, sir. Oh, it's quite all right. MrCredentialed is cool. Yeah, Times Square is beautiful now. Yeah. What's this? It's not the same that we are not trustworthy people in politics. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of politicians do have good intentions. It's the whole. It's not even the system. It is. It's a lot. You have a lot of people pulling at you, and wanting you to do things and get things done. And sometimes you can't do one thing because you got to get the votes or get the people behind you to do this, and you kind of, so there's some things you kind of got to let go or maybe pick back up later. So it's a lot of that, and that's what makes it people to seem that it's untrustworthy, because there's a lot of times where you can't do certain things because you don't have the backing, and you need the backing to get it done. So a lot of times that's what it is. Hold on one second, guys. That definitely blew. Okay. Yeah. So definitely have to make sure your thing is not running. Oh, thanks. You need to drop the age to be president to be 30. Well, I mean, I think 35 is still young. Um, I think they choose 35 to make sure that it's not, you kind of leveled at that point. It's not so much of a, I mean, because it's a daunting task. It's a lot. You're the leader of the free world, so it's a lot. Look at, you got a big baby in there now. He's trying to make a deal with everybody. Lord knows what kind of private deals he done set up to where in which money is coming under the table for certain things. Just like maybe about a week or two ago, the CEO of Amazon and the Washington Post, his phone was bugged by the Saudi prince, actually the same prince that killed the journalist. So and of course, I mean, we all know, well, some of us all know that Trump okayed that, and they went on and did it. A lot of things do not happen without the NSA and the CIA knowing about things and people and their things getting bugged. So, and especially not coming from the Saudi Arabian prince himself. That whole thing that doesn't happen. So the fact that happened to that man who Trump doesn't like is not surprising to me. And I think that has a lot to do with the state of the world we're in. There's a lot of favors being done and deals being made. That's why there's such a big cover up about what's going on right now, because it's simple as, hey, if you didn't do anything wrong, testify. If you didn't do nothing, let the people testify and be done with it. But because you did, and you did, you try to cover it up as much as possible. And like I said earlier, I am very much disappointed in the Republicans. I vote for whom I vote for. I don't necessarily try to stick with a particular party in that sense because they do take advantage, and it's sad. So, but you got to know your power in your vote. And with me knowing my own power in my vote, I'm not quick to just drop down and just vote across the ticket just because. I do my research. Because there could be another candidate just because, it's all Democrat down the line. There may be another Democratic candidate that you can write up in there. And, if enough people write them in, they could actually get a seat at the table. So it's never over. So definitely want you to all stay vigilant in doing that. Oh, thank you, sister. Thank you so much. You do the same. You do the same. Yeah, I know. It just came back because I was good for a while, but yeah, it just came back. But that's my fault for hanging out and having my jacket open and stuff. So, but I'll handle it. I think that's pretty much it. Anybody have any other questions or anything before we head on out? It's been an hour and 6 minutes, and I know I don't want to hold you guys too long, but I do appreciate you guys coming by. I appreciate you showing love, and thank you for coming to Politics and Wellness. MrCredentialed himself, of course, thanks you guys for coming through. Of course, he was having some technical issues, which, of course, it happens to all of us. So it's no big deal. We definitely were able to get through and push through. And that's what you got to do. The show must go on. And yeah, I need to get rid of this whole head cold thing that's trying to attack me right now. So definitely will be getting my tea and lemon on and all that good stuff. Like once again, thank you guys for always stopping by. Please check out. I do have video on the road to the White House, which talks about the 2020 candidates. So if you don't know anything about those and you are more interested in the other candidates that you don't see too much on TV, there are a few of them. I implore you to check that out so you can get to know all the candidates. So if you don't necessarily see them on TV, you can you'll definitely know something about them. So you just won't be stuck to the ones you see on TV, because we seem to do that a lot. It's only the ones you see on TV or they get the TV play that people think are running, but there are other people running as well. Enjoy you, new subby from the gym. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your sub. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy my content as well. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always email me any questions or any news that you guys find. You can always email me. I am definitely here for the emails. I enjoy them. Your comments and the feedback, I love it all. I answer it. So definitely keep it coming. And if that's all, I am going to just call this a night. And love you guys. Peace. Thank you to all my mods. Thank you, Tanari. Thank you, MrCredentialed. If there's any other mods in here that I missed, sorry, but thank you for all that you do. You guys are awesome. And I'm out. Peace.